USAID has been here in Indonesia for just over 60 years. Change is inevitable with USAID and with other governments as well. Just because we've done it in the past doesn't make it the thing we should do in the future. Indonesia is changing in leaps and bounds, and we needed to change with it.
The mission was in a position where we were trying to figure out the direction we was going. It was very important for us to focus on where would we be in 5 years and what type of approach we would take.
Indonesia is diverse not only in terms of 17,000 islands and hundreds of languages and ethnic groups, it's 3 time zones. So the complexity of partners, decision makers, relationships is complex.
So many islands, so many ethnic groups, so many languages in Indonesia. They have different way of thinking, different level of education, different level of capacity. The issue is how to engage them in the process of development.
We had a new incoming mission director, and we decided to pursue a different idea. We could have this new mission director come in and learn about what's going on in Indonesia, not just from our point of view or the government's point of view, but by meeting and consulting with thousands of Indonesians.
One of the best decisions we made was to have a very consultative, rich process to inform our strategy development called Open Space, which enables consulting with a really diverse group of interlocutors in a very open, participatory, unbiased way, but also an efficient way. So it's possible to bring in a lot of views pretty quickly.
Open Space is a way of bringing a group of people together to discuss an open-ended question and come up with the answer, or ideas that are relevant to the answer. We invited hundreds of people to these meetings. We started in Jakarta. We did 13 in the end, from end to end of the country.
We talked with government leaders ranging from the president's top advisors to cabinet ministers to village leaders, religious leaders, tribal leaders, business leaders, university rectors to students to faculty. We heard them.
A lot of time when we think about ideas or planning, we invite experts and we ask them to give ideas only from their point of view. But we forget there are a lot of other resources. The most important aspects of open space is the setup. Everyone within the room has the capacity to be involved in every decisions without any restrictions of agenda or division of who should go to anywhere.
Having this listening process where the agenda and the priorities were set by Indonesians was fantastic. We come in and say, please tell us what you want to talk about.
I saw a lot of people from the government side, from the development partner side, from NGOs, private sector. And I think it's a good way to generate genuine new ideas that will support the cooperation between USAID and Indonesia. In this meeting, we see that our voice is being heard. What are our challenges is also discussed. And it's a much more open and transparent way to solve development challenges.
I remember the end of the first day, hearing what was going on. The mission director and even the deputy mission director came up to me and said, I didn't know what I was going to get here, but the exchange of ideas and the way that people interacted was amazing.
Open space is a good example for CLA in Indonesia because you can collaborate with so many people with a diverse background. You can learn from many people, you can reflect yourself, and you can adapt what you are going to do.
This process for designing our strategy was all about collaboration and learning. Learning from a wide swath of Indonesian society. What matters to them? What do they want us, the Americans, and the USAID staff to learn about their country, what they're thinking? This all led to a very different kind of strategy.
Open space gets you a lot of information. And what you do with it is really what's going to make the difference for the strategy. We had these reports and notes of every meeting that took place. We really pulled from them the golden nuggets of what we thought were important. It required a certain amount of discussion. What were our preferences? What was our comparative advantage? Where could we uniquely add and really benefit? And what could we leverage in the process? These were the questions we were constantly asking. The benefit of doing this over several months is we thought this was the right way. We'd go and truth test it and ask questions when we were at our next strategy consultation meetings. And we would often find out, yes, it is, because it was based on something real. We did move in directions that we hadn't necessarily thought we would go. We stepped into areas of higher education, workforce development, and other areas that we hadn't really thought that would be a high priority and now are. There's a couple things that have come out that we hadn't expected and have been really beneficial. Private sector, NGOs, and academicians had never met before. And getting them together to talk about issues, it was an amazing synergy to watch, and we found out that this group is now meeting quarterly. They've continued this dialogue, working together to figure out how they can make their community a better place.
We also realized from having talked to all these Indonesians and done lots of research that things change. Indonesia is dynamic. There's elections and new leaders come in. Things on the ground change. So learning is a constant process. It's not just 3 months of consultations with open space. It needs to continue.
It's no longer only one-time project and ends, but it creates a change in the society, in the beneficiaries. How can USAID be a help to you?
The days of donor-aid recipient relationship are over. It's technical assistance, it's training, it's capacity building, it's knowledge exchange in very well-defined priorities for them. This kind of approach to learning, rich consultation, building of partnerships and collaboration, this is what AID likes to do. This strategic process has positioned us well to continue collaborating, learning, and adapting with our Indonesian partners.
Realizing that we could move forward and advance Indonesia by taking on areas that we hadn't necessarily worked in, but we had a comparative advantage in, I think that really improved our strategy and the strength of the development work that we're doing here.